Blessings, everyone. We are going to do our energy session forecast for the week, and it's been a lot of fun tapping into the frequencies that we're kind of sitting in, or the container, you could say, that the intelligence or that divine operating system is kind of holding for us all to accelerate our ascension or to move into a space of higher consciousness. And one of the things that is coming through fairly strongly this week, and you probably are already feeling it, I think over the weekend, it was definitely kind of I guess, gearing up for the frequency for this week. Definitely started yesterday. And I see this going for kind of the next 2 weeks, but this week's is when we're going to feel it the most intensely. So, the first thing that I'm really tapping into is to look at those parts of our lives that we are holding attachments to. And I used to use this term a lot in my retreats in the past. And it was that where in your life, or what things in your life, would you say no to the guidance of source, the guidance, that divine guidance, and just really sit in how powerful that is where in your life would you not listen to that guidance because of the attachment or the fear of letting something change in your life? And that is what is coming through right now in a really intense way. And it was so intense, I actually wrote down a few notes because I didn't want to forget anything that I was kind of reading in these energies. Because what I'm really feeling right now, it's almost like this is the theme of July, right? It's we had the big upgrade at the very beginning. And ever since then, it's kind of this unraveling of all of the foundation that has been created in a level of programming, right? Because every time something's created, there's always going to be programming attached to it. And us as conscious beings, it's up to us to be aware of where we're holding those attachments so that we can kind of submit them back into the frequency and let them continually raise up with us. Because if we're raising in consciousness and we're consistently attuning to that intelligence, if you will, living in that fourth level of consciousness. And if you don't know what that is, definitely go check out that video. I'll put that link in the description. But if we continue to kind of create things maybe in the beginning from that fourth level of consciousness that listen and do, listen and do, listen and do, but then we drop back into the third level of consciousness where we're trying to make things happen, or we have attachments to outcomes, we're getting in the way, right? We're getting in the way of what it is that's trying to be created. So, what's being called of us this week is to step back into that place of, am I willing to go all the way? Am I willing to really surrender my life and allow this intelligence to guide me? And where in my life am I not willing to listen to that guidance? When we start to open ourselves up to, first of all, being aware of those places that maybe we would not listen to the guidance, and sitting it for a long enough period of time where we start to go through kind of what is the belief system that's holding me there? And then what do I want the belief system to be? So, an example of that would be there is some in a relationship maybe in my life that I'm not willing to let go of, or I'm not willing to allow it to change. If the guidance was there needs to be a shift in this relationship, would you be willing to follow that? And if the answer is no, that's okay, right? Because that's in a state of awareness. It's the first level of, oh, I see that there's something here for me to see. That's what's being asked. And then being willing to look at, well, what belief system do I have connected to this attachment? Well, I really rely on this relationship to help pay my bills. Let's say it's that. Or I rely on this relationship because I feel safe. This is what I know. Or I rely on this relationship because it's convenient. Whatever the reason is, sit in it until you see what belief system is holding the attachment. Then allow the belief system to shift to where it's being held more in the frequency of that divine guidance. So it could simply be from, this relationship helps me pay my bills and it's important. It makes me feel safe. And I'm not willing to see what happens if I let go of it. No problem. Okay, new belief system. All right, divine. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to be shown. If there is something beyond this, I'm willing to open up to that. Show me what that is. And so all you're doing is inviting in what's next, right? If it's not this, what is it? And then when you start to get those hits or information, you start to create new belief systems around that. So if it's, well, there is another relationship that maybe it would be more fulfilling. Let's just say that's what it is. And so you're like, okay, like I could go for that. What would my life be like if I let this go and I open myself up to more? I'm willing to believe that there is something more. That's still in the third level of consciousness. And it's important to know that. But a lot of times we need to have that shift just for our mind to wrap around so that we can actually move into what this week is really starting to show us. And that is to go from a belief to faith, right? Or to a belief to trust. And that's kind of where the energy has been this last week. This week, we're going to amplify. Yes, I trust. I'm just going to trust. I don't know what this means. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to sit in this frequency of trust and I'm going to keep myself focused in trust by using this other belief system to help me move my mind from something that was limiting to opening myself up to possibilities. Okay, are you ready for this? Now we're moving into that space where we are being asked to move from trust to knowing. Not knowing in the mind, but knowing in the body. Allowing that intelligence, that frequency of the shift that's trying to come in. We had the gentle nudges, and then we got a little more intense. And this week, it's like, let it happen. And let it happen through this place of, I know. There is no doubt every cell in my body is fully activated, that I know that this is divinely guided. This is divinely held. It's not a place of trust anymore, but it is a knowing. And it's not trying to make it happen. It's not trying to convince. It's a full body activation of, this is the next. Let that come in. I invite you to just let that frequency come in. And this weekend, we're also really focusing on activating the pineal gland so that that frequency and guidance can be enhanced to where this isn't just something that you're doing. It's a co-creation through the intelligence that is activating in you. And to know that intelligence as your own mind is what is trying to happen this week, is to go from trust to knowing, and that you know as the intelligence, as the frequency of source. All right, let me look at my notes here. Okay. There's the other thing that I had written down here, and I'm just going to go ahead and mention it, is there is a deep, deep, deep. I don't know how to say it any deeper than that. Transformation that is an invitation, right? So we can go through transformation by holding on for dear life, or we can go through transformation in that space of moving from a belief that, yes, there's a transformation to a trust. I trust that this transformation is within the frequency of the divine, to I know that this transformation is so divinely guided that I will submit all of my attachments into that frequency, and I will sit in that, right? I will exist in that space. And when there's thoughts that come in that don't belong here, I'm willing to look at that. I'm going to see the limitation maybe that it's holding. I'm going to invite in a new belief to move into. I'm going to shift that into a place of trust, faith. And now I'm going to hold it as a place of knowing that I know through the intelligence. I know as the intelligence. I attune my consciousness to this frequency so that I can live my life from the intelligence. And it's important to look at the places where we're not willing to do that. That is the invitation, and that is the deep transformation that we all have the ability to either choose to have the experience with this energy that is here for us to accelerate ascension, or we can choose not to. And there's not a good or a bad, there's not a right or a wrong. Just make the conscious choice. If the choice is to continue to hold on to an attachment, at least do it consciously, right? When we're choosing something and we know why we're choosing it, even if it is, you know what, this is convenient and I'm not willing to let it go. Right now, I get something out of it, and that's why I'm going to choose it. At least do it consciously, right? Because when you're choosing something consciously, even if you know that the guidance is otherwise, when we back it up and allow ourselves to fully see why we're choosing it, what is this place that I'm looking at? What is the attachment, and why am I continuing to choose it? Right? Because it's convenient. That isn't the why of because in my past life or in my childhood. This is a why of information. I'm choosing this because it's convenient and I'm not ready to let it go. Perfect. You just made a conscious choice. Or it could be, I'm choosing this because it's convenient and I'm ready to open up to what's next. I know that when I let go of something that's no longer serving me, that I will be divinely guided into the next. What is it? And I'm going to hold that as my new belief system. I'm going to trust. And then I'm going to hold my consciousness there. And this week, I'm going to move from that to I know. And I'm going to live in that place of sovereignty and holding my consciousness. And when things want to come in to shake me, I move back to that place. Okay, I think I got everything. Deep transformation. And also, I just want to kind of put in a side note here, because I really do feel like these energies that are going to continue to bring us into this really deep transformation. And when I say deep, I'm talking like we're going to the foundation. Like we are just completely wiping clean and rebuilding. And that is an exciting place to be. Not exciting as in the chemical response, but this deep transformation is on a lot of levels, and you can feel if this is true in your heart, is what we came here to do, right? It's time to put on the big girl panties, the big boy panties, and get past all the fears and start creating the miracles. And we do that by knowing. in the intelligence of source. And we have a big gateway coming up on 8/8. And I hope that you will, or I should say, I invite you to journey in these next few weeks of reading the frequency as we kind of lead up to this big activation that I will be doing on the 8th. And I'll give you some more information on that. But this is really a preparation of a really huge transformation that is bringing us into miracles. And that invitation is there for you. And that's a personal thing between you and the intelligence that runs through you. All right, everyone, let me know if this resonates and let me know kind of what's transforming in your life right now. I'm curious, right? And you are family, and I like to know what's happening in your life. And until next time, I'm just going to send you so much love and transmitting that frequency of 963 from my heart to yours. Until next time.